We are transitioning now.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Metabreakers Podcast, episode 3, and it's a pleasure to see you all. Episode 4. Oh my gosh, look at the time. Quarantine has me delusional, chat and gentlemen. What's up, DMoney and Warshack? How are you guys doing today?
Doing great. Happy Easter, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, happy
good?
Easter.
Feeling good?
Yeah,
Happy
doing
Easter.
well.
Heck yeah. All right.
So the first thing we want to talk about is the meta. That's what we usually start with. So you want to kick it off, DMoney? How you been feeling about the meta?
It's been a roller coaster. It really has. The first day of the expansion dropping, I did a 24-hour stream, and that might have not been the best time to do a 24-hour stream when the class was severely broken.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I think this was I did a 24-hour stream for Descent of Dragons, and that was definitely easier. Even though Galakrond Shaman was so broken back then, not everybody was playing it. It wasn't 80% of all the matches. But yeah, it was a lot harder this time to get through the 24-hour. I wanted to end it so many times at like 12 hours, 13 hours, man. Every hour is just like a struggle. At one point, I started doing viewer games, and I was like, you can only play against me if you don't play aggro or combo Demon Hunter. That's it. That's the only stipulation. But yeah, so the meta was horrible at the beginning, but then they of course patched it, and it got better. Everyone was trying a bunch of different decks, and that was cool. That was amazing for a couple days. And now ladder is just swarmed with a bunch of Galakrond Warlock and Demon Hunter. And I don't really mind Demon Hunter as much right now. I mean, it did get fixed quite a bit. But yeah, also besides Warlock, there's this Spell Druid I'm sure you're aware of, which is not that fun to play against. It's probably more fun to play, but yeah, it's just like those 3 classes that are being represented right now. I mean, there's of course a lot of different classes in there as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, we see a lot of repetition with the Spell Druid and Galakrond Warlock. I don't know if you guys are facing anything different, but I mean, overall, I'm really having a good time with it. It is a lot of fun. This has got to be the best Hearthstone's been in a long time, in my opinion.
So I'm more interested in your 24-hour stream. Honest, like how was that? Like streaming for 24 straight hours. I mean, that's a lot, right? I mean, I've been up to I think 20 hours was my max, and it's pretty intense.
It is intense. It is. There were points where I just had to rest my eyes for a few seconds. Like when it wasn't my turn, I'd just be closing my eyes, and I was like, "Oh my god, I have to play again." But yeah, it's overall just a great experience. Like seeing people coming into chat, leaving chat, going to sleep, and then coming back, and I'm still on, and it's it's an interesting experience. It's a lot of fun overall. Yeah, I did lose my mind throughout there for a while. I mean, the Demon Hunter, I literally played against like 80% Demon Hunter for 24 hours. It was quite rough.
I'm surprised you didn't just pivot to being like, okay, I'm going to play Demon Hunter better than the Demon Hunters, and then just start doing that out of like I have to do this for 24 hours and might as well just like be the problem.
I don't give in easy. If anybody knows me, they know I'm very resilient to playing these aggro decks and combo decks, and I'm very stubborn. I'm just a stubborn person. I can't help it. But I stayed strong throughout, and it was a good time. But at the very end, I started playing my Highlander Galakrond Shaman, and I went on like an 8-game win streak, and it was crazy, even with the broken cards. And I got like, excuse me, I got some more life in me for like that last hour there. Got a second wind, but it was a good experience overall. It was definitely a lot harder than DoD to do it, but
Yeah.
how's the
So
meta for you guys?
Draco, I know you've been wanting to talk. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm not wanting to talk or anything particular. I definitely have been playing a lot of Demon Hunter. I took a break when it was oppressive, and I didn't play it for the whole first day, which felt pretty good because I just fell 4,000 legend ranks. Because I was like, at that point, I was trying to play Rogue because I didn't want to be the 80% of Demon Hunter while it was broken. So I think I won like one game every 7 or 8. And I just really wanted to play Hearthstone since there were new cards, and I just refused to quit playing. So I have been having a really fun time finding a way to climb back into good ranks with Demon Hunter in a way that is less what is the word? The way with the nerfed version of it. So it's been
More
fun to refine it. Yeah. Now I've been enjoying it. I think I'm up to around like 140 wins. The one thing I found to be pretty interesting was is you can tell how many wins people have played with and how many games they've won by if they have like a golden sightless seer. So if they have like a golden sightless seer, you're like, okay, this person has played like probably 500, 600 games of Demon Hunter right now. So, or like a golden glaved adept, those things generally mean like they've played like, I don't know, like 100 games, 200 games. So it's, yeah. Is something going on with the audio right now? Is that what's...
Yeah, I'm trying to fix it. That's why I keep bringing it up. My bad.
Yeah.
I was telling people, like, after, when the nerfs, actually before the nerfs happened, I was like, if you're playing Demon Hunter right now, I forgive you of your sins. I do. It's not your fault. It's Blizzard's fault. So if you're playing it, I forgive you. But you're not really helping. But yeah, I respect that you didn't play it until it was nerfed. And yeah, I think it's definitely more respectable now. I don't really have an issue with it except for one card, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh
yeah. But yeah, I tanked a lot of ranks. When I started my 24-hour stream, I was 200 in Legend, and then at the end of it, I was 2,200 or something like that. So.
Damn, man.
Yeah, I saw that you had gone down quite a few ranks. I was like, damn, D-Money's at like 1,000-ish. I've never seen him this low before. He must be sweating. Like, I've never seen this man anywhere. I mean, 200-300. This man's like, all right, guys, we gotta pump this shit up. Now I'm like 1,000. I'm like, my god, jeez.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you, Draco. It's been fun trying to climb back, especially with like new decks or whatever. So yeah. How about you, Shaq?
I mean, the metas, I honestly really don't mind playing against Demon Hunter. I'd rather play against Demon Hunter like over Priest any day. I don't know what it is about the Priest, man. Like, I know a lot of people don't like complaining about the Priest because it's not the Priest's fault that the Priests are in this situation, right? Like, it's not a player's fault that Res Priest is the only viable deck. But, like, shit, is it an obnoxious class to play against? It is just so horrible.
Yeah.
So
oftentimes I wonder if Priest players even have fun playing that deck. It's so weird to me.
It's not. It's fun, kind of, but I think the deck is just like once you kind of get the hang up Quest Priest, it's a good deck, and I think it's really just easy to play, right? Like, you just play the taunt minion, right? Like, there's not a lot of options per turn. It's you kill your opponent's minions, or you play a taunt minion. Like, that's the two options, right? There's no combos, there's no OTKs, there's no setup. You know, you play mass res. That's your whole turn. That's it. The minions don't have some crazy abilities. There's nothing that you can get randomly generated like mage decks or rogue decks. So it's just a very simplistic chill deck. You can like listen to lo-fi hip hop, do homework, and play your 45-minute Priest games.
The entire game is dictated by the sequence in which the 30 cards of the Priest come out, right? Like if you come out with like, you know, the right minions early enough in the game and your opponent's 30 don't draw enough to ruin it, then like it just, you play the card, you resurrect it, you play the other one, and eventually it's 20 minutes later you won.
Yeah, I've been trying to make some other Priest deck work. Somebody in chat was bringing it up. I did try to make a tempo Priest, like a tempo Dragon Priest, and that was awful. But then I think Highlander Priest is actually kind of decent. I actually saw last night, which surprised the hell out of me. Somebody reached number 3 with Highlander Priest. I think it was on like one of the Asia servers or something.
Was it a Galakron list?
Yes, but I think they're only running Galakron and and Kronks. No actual invoke cards.
No time.
That makes sense. That really makes sense.
So I might have to try that out. That definitely seems a lot more enjoyable to play against than
Was there
Priest.
was there some dragons in there by any chance? Was there a sprinkle of dragons?
Yes. Sprinkle.
That's what I like to
yes.
hear. That sounds very reasonable.
I'll have to send it to you if you want.
You know what feels good to do to Res Priest while we're talking about this? That Warglaives of Azeroth card, right? The one that allows you to hit a minion, and then after you kill it, you can hit another. When you're playing Demon Hunter, if you get enough, like, attack boost, you get some twin slices with it, you can just, like, instead of playing minions, you just smash through them, and it feels amazing. Just to be like, oh, you put up an infiltrator. Let me just smack that with my face and then hit you in the face. And it feels wonderful to tank through that deck with that card.
Fair
Good
point.
feel.
Yeah.
Now I've been seeing a lot of demon hunters run the glaives now. So is that do you think a one of or a two of? I thought they actually cut the lifesteal card to a one of, and then they ran one of the glaives. Is that kind of what happened?
Yeah, I think the best in the if you're trying to make a fast one and the aggro one right now, what you want to do is you want to reduce the amount of big cost cards. And if you just leave Warglaives as like the top end, I mean, if you think about it, right? You have it's three attack, 4 durabilities. That's 12 potential face damage in one weapon. So, and it's kind of the only top end you run in the decks too. So, essentially, I think it's they're amazing.
The card's really strong. I was playing in a tournament yesterday. First tournament I played. I was playing against a Demon Hunter with Highlander Rogue, and I had the Hanar guy, the secret guy out. And I was trying to find a way to survive, like maybe like an ice barrier or something. He had the glaives up. He was gonna push me for lethal next turn. I just had to delay him. And the secret that I got to try to save myself was misdirection. And he attacked into the misdirection, and then he was able to attack again. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense actually. The card is really good.
It's kind of cool too, because if you run out of durability with the weapon, you're Demon Hunter too. So like you smash into their minion, and then you have whatever attack you had left over that you added on that you can now hit him in the face with. That is just a raw ability. It's neat. I never thought about that use of it when I was like thinking about how good the card was ahead of time. I wasn't like, oh, I can add a twin slice and then killed a minion, and then I have the extra twin slice damage to also throw into their face after. It's weird.
Yeah, that's really good. I've seen that happen.
I definitely missed that when raiding the card.
So, quick snippet. I see some new people in chat, and just for those of you who have not, made it to a podcast before, we're reading chat, and if you have a good question or a question, just ask it, and we'll get to all of those. Normally during the end of the podcast, we'll cover what stands out to us as being like, we can really dive into this, and we'll grab your guys' questions. I don't think we're ignoring you guys. We see everything you are doing all the time. We'll answer that stuff we'll answer it at the end. So I appreciate you guys being here and watching. So just wanted to put a little quick slide in of that. I'll give you guys a little note. Yeah. So on the screen here, we've been talking about it, running around here. We have on the screen here basically what the meta breakdown is right now. We have standard, wild, and arena. And so this looked very similar just a few days ago. Demon Hunter, of course, as we know, was on top. A ton of people playing it, had a very high win rate. Then they nerfed the Demon Hunter, right? Everybody's like, oh my god, nerfed. Everybody stopped playing Demon Hunter. Warlock then rose to the #1 deck. And then now, just a day later, we're seeing Demon Hunter again back on top, even after the nerfs, and Warlock actually moving down a little bit. So this is quite the shift in 3-4 days worth of time. So what can we make of this? What do you guys? That's a pretty interesting little mix up there.
The Demon Hunter players learned how to beat the Warlock, and it was all wrapped in mana burn card. It's honestly what happened, right? So like Hunter Race and Orange were like refining it to beat Warlocks for a while, and then they got like 1 or 4 legend, and then that was like basically posted as a list that ran the mana burns and some questing explorers, And I guess it was learned that like if you use a mana burn like at the right turn against warlocks when they need specific removal, then you just win the game from the aggro perspective. So that's probably why it shifted. I think it's mana burn. that's
Yeah.
my
Really?
theory.
I think the questing adventurers probably helped out a lot too. I've been seeing that a lot. And yeah, I mean it's basically a battle of Demon Hunter versus Warlock. They're trying to counteract each other, which is pretty interesting. But I think, yeah, this is. I actually don't mind Demon Hunter being on top. Like as Warlock was saying before, I don't really mind Demon Hunter either playing against it. I really think it's a lot more fair now. It's just a little sad to see those other classes so far down there. I'm not sure why they're. I mean,
Dude,
Paladin I
Warrior?
can see, but
Warrior, dude, it hurts.
actually,
It hurts so
I actually think
bad.
the Warrior people have been doing pretty well with Warrior.
It's
recently,
fucking
so I'm surprised
trash.
to see it.
It is trash. It
Johansson
is so
got full
bad.
legend with it, right? So
I
it
don't
can't be
care.
trash for him.
It is trash. You can hit your 4 legend. I want to see you do it again. I want to see some consistency, not a high roll.
I
Dude.
mean, we've been seeing a lot of Bomb Warrior be successful as well.
But there's no
Um,
control.
I've been playing. Actually, I played yesterday a Highland Warrior with like a bunch of taunts and Armadillo and Into the Fray, and that was doing quite well. So I don't think it's in that bad of a spot. I'm
do you
surprised that it's
mean?
all the way at the bottom.
It's at the bottom of Wild. It's at the bottom of Standard, second to bottom of Wild, and absolutely bottom of Arena. What do you mean it's not bad? It's literally the worst place you can
I'm
be
a little
almost out of all
surprised.
3 segments.
I don't know how it's worse than Paladin. I'm very surprised at that. I don't
As a
know.
person
Warlock
who
Paladin.
plays Demon Hunter, I understand why Warrior's at the bottom. The second I see that I'm playing a Warrior as a Demon Hunter, I'm just like, great. I'm gonna win
Really?
probably. Yeah. like you generally
I've
beat
been
them.
stomping Demon Hunter. I'm confused.
With Warrior?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just you're good enough with it or something. I
Maybe.
don't know, but I haven't lost a game to a Warrior with a Demon Hunter game ever. So don't think that happens much.
I feel like well, what version of Demon? So you're not playing the OTK, right?
No, I don't play the
Okay.
OTK. I'm playing the ones that have like battle mages and the Warglaive.
I feel like Warrior's really good against OTK specifically because you can just armor at a range from their combo, and stabilize. But I mean, it's still pretty close, honestly. I had like 40 HP the other day, and they still got very, very close. And with like Kane Sun Fury, and then they got Doomhammer with Zephyrs into like the
Oh my god.
Demon. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And I still survived it. I don't know. I think Warrior's actually in a decent spot. I'm very surprised.
You know what?
honestly.
You've convinced me. Warrior looks great. It's in the top 10. It's in the top 10. I mean, how much better can you do than top 10?
No, but I've seen so many
the
people.
data
Be,
beneath of us.
I've seen so many people be successful with Warrior recently, so that is just weird to me. But I guess overall, sure, maybe players that are playing it. I don't know.
Warrior does have a tendency to be one of the last decks that gets figured out in a new expansion to
enough.
support D-Money's thesis. So it is possible that, you know, Warrior can beat Demon Hunter sometimes, I guess. But I don't know. I feel like it's bad, but you know, agree to disagree.
Yeah, I mean, what about the other modes? I don't really play Wild. Or
No.
about that one. Do you guys have any take on Wild?
No.
Draco?
Mage is still good, evidently, because it has
Yeah.
10 win condition.
The quest.
10 win con Mage is still kicking.
But I did so Arena. I know they did actually nerf Demon Hunter in Arena. Somehow I don't remember the exact nerf there, but I was watching my friend David play a Demon Hunter Arena run last night, and it was just like the power level of Demon Hunter cards in Arena is just insane, actually. So I don't even think it's fair at the moment. Still, it's pretty crazy. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Their cards are really like consistent in terms of being good for a class. So if they get like any class offerings and they get like, you know, I don't know, like even the little Murloc, that's like better than any 2-drop than you get for like, I don't know, like a priest or something. So I get it. It makes sense to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean
and their hero
between
power.
yeah, their hero power is what I think makes them really good. Plus, like you said, all their basic cards are just really they all synergize with each other. They all synergize with the hero power. The hero power costs 1 mana. It's just a very strong basic deck. Like it's I mean, yeah, they definitely should have opted to do something with it in Arena besides just throwing it in there and just like all the other decks for the slaughter. So
Yeah.
You guys
But
want to talk about the Demon Hunter nerfs?
yeah, we can
Sure.
jump into the Demon Hunter nerfos.
Can
Yeah, I'm
get
sure
Take a
you're
look
feeling
here.
quite good over there. You're the Demon Hunter main now, Draco. So I think with those Demon Hunter being on top in all those categories, you must be feeling pretty nice over there.
After I get the golden one, right, with the 500 wins, I'm going to
Yeah.
reevaluate whether or not I only want to play Demon Hunter. If I do, I
Okay.
might get some more glaives for back here. That's the only thing I want in my life is the class weapon behind me. That would make me feel, you know.
Can you
life,
like
but-
chroma key that in?
Well, I could chroma key it. I feel like that would be less exciting though. If there was actual war glaives, I would be like, okay, this guy's about
Yeah.
this guy's
fair
actual war glaives behind. I'm-
This guy
like,
is a Demon Hunter.
I don't want to mess with this guy. Imprisoned Anton is the first one though. I don't think this card is playable anymore.
Really?
I think at 6 mana, it's too slow. I think that card has anti-synergy with Outcast. Anything that's 5 mana is bad with the Skull and Outcast, right? Because it's hard to manipulate in your hand. If you draw that card on your left from the beginning of the game, your whole entire early game is practically destroyed because you only get to use the right hand for Outcast.
That's
So
fair.
running that in a deck, you're basically limiting your early game for a 6-drop that only does damage 2 turns later now. So even though it's only a 1 mana difference, now that it hits the board 1 mana later and it's still delayed 2 turns, that means you're only going to get the damage on turn 8, which most Demon Hunter decks, you want to kill them by, right?
Yeah.
I haven't, whenever I see people play it against me now, I'm just like, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's actually made a big difference. Just not having to. It makes such a big difference playing. It's just when you're playing against it, you have so much more time. One turn might not seem like a ton of time, but you have so much more time to develop more stuff on the board to soak up that damage, and I think it's actually a huge change. Yeah, I could see it not being playable. I think it's still actually pretty good overall in the right kind of deck, but I think
Oh, yeah.
Demon Hunter just has to be so aggressive right now to compete that I don't think you have time to play it. Yeah.
So
What do you think, Rob?
so for me, I don't know why I'm getting this feeling, but it kind of gives me like the whole like a lot of people go 1 mana, you know, not a big deal, but then you look at cards like remember Extra Arms? They nerfed it to 2 and it was like the most broken thing ever, and at 3 it was unplayable. And it's like, well, 1 mana like it doesn't seem that much, but like and I guess it like it really is, right? So, I mean, because Skull is now 6 and this guy's 6, and obviously you mentioned both being 6, why that is an issue now. So maybe, I mean, I like this card. I think it's cool. I like the whole Dormant thing, and he's a badass looking guy, and I think he does like, you know, cool Demon Hunter stuff. So I was thinking maybe like if there was a way that he could have stayed at 5, what would make him fair, right? Like if he were to stay at 5 mana, like what? I was thinking maybe 6/6 with the same ability, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh.
I had originally I thought they could maybe nerf it to an 8/6 with doing 8 damage split among and staying at 5. Just something along the lines of that.
It's hard to speculate, right? Because the way all of these nerfs transitioned was to make a faster Demon Hunter deck to exploit like the Skull being the real true most expensive card in the deck, right? Like so you don't have you can always manipulate the Outcast. That's the way to exploit Demon Hunter now. So beforehand it was pack all the good shit into the deck and I win, right? And now it's you actually have a deck building restriction. But with that deck building restriction, increasing the mana just makes it putrid. but I guess if it was at 5 still, it would need to. I think it would just need to not do 10 damage. Like the stat line isn't really the problem because most of the time, like if you're gonna get to hit your opponent with 10, it's win more, right? It was
I mean, 10 is a
unchecked.
lot. It really
Yes.
But yeah,
10
I'm
is
happy with it. We could move on. I think we could go to
Let's talk about I-beam.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was a card that I also thought needed a nerf. It was way too strong for 0. But now Draco was telling me before we started up the podcast that even if you get it on Skull, it's still not 0 sometimes.
It's horrible the way this nerf was implemented. It makes me so mad because if you draw this off a Skull, right, it reduces the cost of the 3-mana card to 0. But if it ends up on the right or the left hand, the left side of your hand, it still costs 1 because of the way the nerf works, where it says Outcast, this costs 1. So a lot of times I'll be going off with like Altruist or something, and I'll have an I-beam in the equation. But I have to think about the mana manipulation. I'm like, okay, can I play it for 1? Or do I actually need to use it ahead of time and not get the Altruist proc? And it's just super confusing for me to always have to do this micromanaging with my hand because of the way the nerf was implemented has actual anti-synergy with what the class is supposed to do well. I don't know.
So I mean, that's actually a bigger nerf than it seemed at first then. Right.
Yeah. And yeah,
and
it's just
fooled me.
bad.
But I think that is an interesting thing to keep in mind. Definitely.
That if you draw it off a Skull, you don't want to play it on the right or left. You want to play it before it gets there for once. Go to anti.
I mean, it based on what how the card reads now, it definitely makes sense. Did it need that much of a nerf? I'm not sure, but
Outcast, this costs 2 less. That's what it should say. That's what that would make
cool.
That would make sense. That would make sense.
Obviously
with the
they
card.
thought it was they obviously thought it was too strong, so I guess they nerfed it into the ground like that.
It was too strong.
But like, yeah,
it was definitely too strong at 0. But like, if you get it off Skull, that should be free game, right? Like that's the whole point.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy with that. Just a little interesting.
I wish you guys were there in my game where I had 2 of them on like the right of my hand, and like, they kept costing 1, and no way I can manipulate the Outcast would make them cost 0, even though I just drew them for 0, and I was set up to like win the game if they did, and couldn't because so it happened to me. It royally screwed me out of a whole game. Continue. We can go. We can pass. We're done. I'm done ranting about this. Let's go.
All right.
Skull.
What do we got next here? Skull. All right, Shaq. What do we got?
I mean, I honestly didn't really play much Demon Hunter past day 1 just because I couldn't stand chat like saying, "Oh, you're just another Demon Hunter streamer," when we were just trying to have fun with the new class after 5.5 fucking years of the same 9. You bullied me, chat, into not being able to play the new class because playing the new stuff was too hipster. So, my experience was this card was great. The card's insane. And it's 6 mana, the card's still fucking amazing. Draw 3 cards, reduce it by 3, like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, that's so good. So,
yeah.
Draco, I'm sure you'll have more about this.
I think they nerfed it from being broken to a build around card. You know what I mean? Like, it's instead of it being like just like this horrible thing that you can put in anything that just powers the deck to steamroll things now it's like you still want to use it, but you want to reduce all the cards so that they can be played for free. Like the more card, like that's the way it is now. Like, okay, I don't want to have any cards that cost more than Skull, because drawing a Skull in the early game used to actually mean like you win. Like, so the old Demon Hunter, it was like getting Skull on the left-hand side generally meant you were going to win the game. But now, after the nerfs, if you get a Skull on the left-hand side in your mulligan, you probably lose. So that is a huge difference, but it's still good enough that you want to put it in every deck.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what I
a
mean?
2 of in every single deck. Even a Highlander deck, you're still running 2 of them. Honestly, I think card's still very good. It's probably the best card that you could top deck. It's the most frustrating card to get top decked against you.
After turn 6, though.
Well,
If you top deck it early in the game, though, it ruins like your
every
your
Demon
outcast.
Hunter top decks it on turn 6. You know this, Draco.
Not me.
Don't try to play dumb with me, okay? Yeah, I think the card's still very, very good. It's not broken. It's very, very good.
It's not broken? Is that what you just said, D-Money?
It's not
Can
broken.
you repeat that once?
It'll be on the podcast VOD for forever now. It's not broken anymore. And I hate it, but I can deal with it. It's fine. Yeah.
I hope they don't make it 7, because then I wonder, like, is it good enough? And then it also ruins the outcast mechanic.
They won't do 7. 7's too dirty. 6 is cool.
Give it the Pocket Galaxy treatment. No, I couldn't, because then it would have to originally be 7 and then get nerfed to 5. But anyway.
Yeah, I think it's fine at 6.
Yeah, I think that card's cool.
The Warblades, though, that's a big deal.
Yeah, this was a hard one. This just honestly, a 3-mana 2/2 is not playable to me. Like, it's good, but this was a big hit. That last durability was kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it definitely feels a lot weaker now.
Yeah.
Playing against it. I mean, I only have 2 wins on Demon Hunter, and it was playing like a control Demon Hunter, which sucked. But what?
Control Demon Hunter is sucky?
Yeah.
I feel like with 3 durability, you could pretty much use it as your soul healing, right? You didn't have to run Eyeglass, but you did because they were.
Well, it was still too good, but yeah, this card needed a nerf too. But I like how they didn't really do too much to it. It's still, I mean, it is a big nerf, but it's not too big. I think you still run it, right? You still run
OTK
one
deck
now.
needs it. That's what is imperative the OTK deck, but the aggro ones you don't run it.
You don't run it, okay?
Yeah, because you can heal with the inner demon with it in the OTK, right?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that they hit the nail on the head for all these cards. Like, these were the exact cards that I thought needed a nerf. After playing with them against them for 24 hours straight, these were like the exact cards that needed a change, and I was very happy with all these changes. But there's still one more card.
We're about to get into that.
Yeah, I'm cool with this. So yeah, want to get into the next card?
Yeah, last thing, I would have liked maybe like Outcast gain 1 durability, or I make it a 2/3 and Outcast gain lifesteal. That'd have been cool. I don't know.
That'd have been really cool.
Just add a little flavor to the weapon, an Outcast weapon. So
that'd have been
all right.
Cool.
So next card was Twin Slice, correct? Or D-Money, which is the one that you wanted to talk about?
I think we're going to talk about just the next nerf targets overall.
Yes, this is our next segment, Chad.
Oh, okay.
These are what we think cards that should be touched up come the next balance patch, which XR mentioned was inevitably going to happen.
Yes. So I'll pull up his tweet so we have proof before claiming this. So Twitter, apparently this guy is the lead developer. You said correctly?
Apparently, yes he is.
Well, I didn't know. I honestly had no idea. I mean, I had no idea until you told me. But yeah, the day 1 nerfs, and then they also had mentioned that they were going to do more changes very, very soon. No specifics, but more changes are on the horizon, and the horizon is like soon. So we're not pulling this out of our foreheads when we say like there are more changes coming soon.
Yeah, so the next, they said it should be at the end of this upcoming week. So very exciting.
Yep.
So yeah,
this card was Warshack's idea about the nerf. He had an interesting thought on it.
Yeah, so Twin Slice, I mean, a 0 mana card, we've seen in the past 0 mana cards being nerfed to either be 1 mana or 2 mana. 0 mana is just not a fair number because it's 0, which means it's free. and we like paying mana for cards because that's what cards need to be paid for is mana. That's why we get one each turn, boys. So I think one mana for Twin Slice is fair. D-Money had a good suggestion, which I did like one costing 1 and one costing 0, because it just pay something, but that would be too confusing. I don't know how you'd implement that into this card, but at least pay something. Give me something for playing a card twice for 0 mana. You know what I mean?
2 extra hero powers, though, in that situation? 1 mana, do 1 damage?
Well, it would still have the twin spell.
Okay.
Like the twin spell's fine. It's the fact that you can play first 2 spells for 0 and you can kill minions. Like a hero power and then a twin slice kills any early game minion through turns 1 through 3. So they're paying nothing to kill minions while you're paying mana for your minions. I don't know.
This
Plus
card
it's
gives
like
it that tempo reach. Touching it would be so bad for Demon Hunter. It would have a big
it would,
effect.
because it allows Demon Hunter to play like the 1 mana 2/2 and then just be able to do this for free. Maybe even coin out another 1 mana 2/2.
exactly.
On turn 1. Yeah, so it creates kind of busted scenarios that maybe shouldn't happen.
There's
And
the
if it
3
costs
mana
one-
Satyr that you can
Yep,
attack
you can
and
do that
generate
too.
the dude.
Yep. There's a lot of good things that this card could do. And like, not even to mention that the second Twin Slice, since it doesn't have Twin Spell, so if it did have Twin Spell, then it would stay in the same position in your hand. But since it doesn't have Twin Spell, it moves to the right of your hand, which makes it
Giving
even
it-
better for Demon
Yep.
Hunter. Yeah.
Yeah, I find myself most likely looking for these in like mulligans when I'm playing against other demon hunters, because whoever has the twin slice in the beginning, right? Like you get to remove their early 1-drop. And if you don't have it, then you can't efficiently remove their 1-drop while developing your side. So whoever in like the mirror matchup gets the curve and the twin slice usually takes the early game. If you had it at 1 mana, though, there would be no point to running it,
Mhm.
because then
And-
you don't get tempo.
An
You
early
still
game
run
is.
it.
I mean, at 1 mana, I still think it's playable.
It's
Yeah.
playable, but it wouldn't be a card you'd want to have in the beginning. Like
No. It'd be just a good card, but it wouldn't be the card.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm afraid of those kind of nerfs, like because since this card has synergy with like 9 different cards, like in Demon Hunter, I feel like taking that this makes it feel like Rogue. That's what it makes it feel like to me when I have a 0 mana card that I can just flex
Yeah.
in for an attack. And I feel like nerfing it to 1 might do the shaman situation to it. Like that
Yeah.
might be the breaking point. I don't know.
All right, I'll meet you
I
halfway.
I don't necessarily need this one to be nerfed, but it would be cool for me. But I mean, the main one is, in my opinion, is Altruist, which maybe we have next here.
There you go.
Yeah. So I mean, Altruist, definitely. There's been a lot of controversy over this. I talk about it like every day on my stream, and I get a lot of hate on it, from Demon Hunter players, and I think that the effect is fine, except for the fact that it deals damage to my face, to the opponent's face. I think that's a little too much. This has got to be like, I know you have to set up for it. Like you are not playing it on 3, of course. I mean, you can, but if you have 4 twin slices in your hand or something. But yeah, I think that I talked about it the other day, how I had 2 9/9 taunts up and 15 health on my hero, and he got through both of those taunts with this, and he did 15 damage to my face. I just think it's a bit too much.
Holy
This card-
shit.
Yeah, this card tilts me over the edge. Like, I had the new Mishafin card out there, the 2 9/9 taunt. I thought I would be fine. Like, if you have Kane, then sure. But then you're not going to push 15 damage to my face because you spent 4 mana on it. But yeah, this card is just too bonkers for me. Like, it's still going to be really good if it just hits minions only. But yeah, I think it's very unenjoyable to play. There's like no way to play around it. I don't know.
What do you think about it, Rob?
Looking at it, I mean, it's not really a card they're going to play a lot of the times on turn 3. It's kind of a card, like D-Money said, that they, like, it's situational. Like, they wait for the prime opportunity to, punch you in the face with it. it going face, because if you change that, the card is, I think it's pretty, it loses a lot of its umph, to be honest. But it is a little bit too powerful. Because right now it's just like, why would you not play this card, right? It's an auto include. When you have auto includes, it makes deck building less fun. It makes decks less, feel like they're their own identity, like a control variant is going to play this, a tempo or burst variant is going to play this. You know what I mean? It's just going to be played in every variant. So I would like it to change, I guess, but I mean, then I don't think it would be good enough, to be honest.
Like if you're just passing your turns, if you're building up just a big hand, like this allows you to just be able to just let your opponent just drop a ton of minions on the board, and then you're just like, oh, I'm gonna clear everything and do 20 damage to their face. It's just like you don't have to do anything; you can just sit there, right?
I like cards like this in general, that reward setup and thinking ahead many turns. Like this is very much in the same concept as Edwin and in not Inner Rage, but Battle Rage. Yeah, it's very much like Edwin in Battle Rage, where like if you look at the statistics on HS Replay, it has a horrible played win rate and a horrible mulligan win rate and a horrible drawn win rate. So it looks like a crash to your card if you look at the statistics. But
okay, that's interesting.
High level players though, that the people like DMoney's playing that know how to exploit this card. It got more exploitable though because of the Demon Hunter nerfs, because of everyone using Skull as the top deck and adapting to the Warglaives as the other top end to the aggro list, and everything being cheaper and drawing everything off a Skull makes everything cost 0 now, except the Warglaives, the Metamorphosis, and the other Skulls are all 3 and 2 and like 1. Maybe like Kane is 1 mana. So now this card can be even more exploited since the decks are so much faster. So if you get to the late game and you do draw this, you have like a handful of like 0 cost cards a lot of times. So you can go off like 6, 7, throw some more draw cards in there. If you draw a Twin Slice, you get like, I don't know, like you can get like 9, 11 swipes on people, which is ridiculous.
It is.
Especially
Dude, I
when
love
you add
it.
in the face damage.
Every time you talk about this card, Draco, and you say slice, you always like this. It's the funniest thing. Every time, even before the podcast, you did it twice. We were talking about it. You're like, slice, It's great. I love it.
Cross your hands
now. Oh man, every time.
Demon Hunter in real life.
I know the what's it called, the way it was said, because Warshack was like, which card? And I was like, this one. And he was like, oh, okay. The second I did this, he knew which one it was. Like,
it's the one that slice. Oh shit.
Do you like when you order pizza? Do you like do that for like 1 slice or like?
I'll take an 8.
Guy's looking at you like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? I'm just telling you how many slices I want, man.
I'm just gonna give him his pizza and get.
Yeah, I'll take a twin slice. I'll take
I think if you got rid of its face damage, so it couldn't be used for lethal options, it would severely hurt aggro Demon Hunter. But if you just did that, I think that might make it so it's still relevant.
Do you think it should be nerfed in like by increasing the mana to 4 or by changing it to only minions?
I think if they're going to nerf Demon Hunter again, the best way that I would think to do it in a subtle yet impactful way would be to just do that. Like, don't touch Twin Slice, don't touch Skull, but make this only hit minion. And then
you think it would still be good?
I think it would ruin Altruist into playing into lethals. And it would give it's a board control for aggro deck still and reward setup, but it would just clear the board for you. So I think that would be a fair way to make the deck less terrifying and more fair, without ruining it as a contender. I think that would be solid.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. Big contender here. Big card. Big card.
Oh boy.
Kel'Thas.
So-
Yeah.
D-Money.
Go. No, what
Go
do
hit
you,
us
what do
off.
You go. Oh wait, am I going? You?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay. Yeah, so as a player that hates combo decks,
Started off that
way. I very much despise this card. We've been seeing this card a lot in Big Spell Druid or just Spell Druid, where they play Kel'Thas and they play their cards like the cards that now cost 0 when they get to 7 mana. So it's basically you're playing. I feel like I'm playing the same game over and over and over when I play against a Spell Druid. They just ramp up, they play Overgrowth, they coin it out or whatever. Then they just build up a few cards in their hand. They probably play Overflow, build up to like a 9-card hand. And then they just play Kel'Thas, they play the 0-cost cards, then they play a bunch of like Glowflies, just 2/2s. Then they give them the 2/2 Death Rattle with the Soul of the Forest. And then if you are somehow able to, there's no way you're like able to deal with that first wave and the second wave of the 2/2s that come back. That's the only way to beat it. Because if you don't do that, then they're just gonna play Gift of the Wild on you, and then they're gonna kill you. So I think this card's very uninteractive. It seems like people are just slapping this card into like any deck. Like now we've seen it. I've seen it in a Paladin deck as well with the Librams. They play like some cheap Librams and then they play like Libram of Hope or like some more expensive spells. I think you could just. I mean, of course, there's OTK Demon Hunter too, which allows you to do like 25 damage in one turn. I think cards like this ruin the game. Like combo decks in general, for me, ruin the game experience. It's just basically you're just sitting there doing your thing, trying to play the game, and they're just building up for a combo to kill you, and you can't do anything about it. So that's my opinion. What's up?
It's kind of interesting, though, right? Like this card got worse combo wise after the huge rotation and then just one expansion. Usually OTK decks and combo decks like don't usually exist in the first expansion of the year because there's not usually enough cards to find that horrible combination that takes care of them. But it's interesting how Kel'Thas, like I didn't even really see much of it in the before Ashes of Outlands, and now that it's out, like this card makes what is that 8-mana Druid card? Like that's horrible. It makes it like a viable card.
Gift of the Wild.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That card is so bad. I could never have imagined any world where anyone would ever put that card in their deck. But somehow it's happening, and it's because Kel'Thas is that good that horrible card gets in there. It's crazy.
Yes, I mean when we first saw the card, when people were trying to make decks with it before Ashes of Outland came out, and they gave it to us early. It's basically like you have to make your deck around the card, or else it's not going to be good. And now you can do that with the Spell Druid, and they gave it so much synergy. Like now they have a Book of Spectre essentially, and just so many spells to work with this. And it's the same thing with Demon Hunter. They have so many cheap spells that it's ridiculous. And I don't know if they have foreseen this coming, but I think this will be one of the nerfs coming.
Have you
But
had
we have a
any
fix.
of your druids discarded? Like on like turn 3? Sorry.
Wait, what was that?
Have you ever had a druid player just lose it, like discard it through that Book of
Yes,
Scepter?
it's very rare.
It's
but,
awesome.
Even if they discard it, they could still have like the Mount Seller guy too, and that's pretty frustrating. So I don't know if they'll change Mount Seller. That's
crazy
also a
too.
thought, but yeah.
What's that card? Right.
Yeah, nobody had used that card ever until now because there's so many cheap spells. There's so many ways to get cheap spells now. I don't know, Warshack, what you think?
What do you think?
Well, we have a fix for this card, right? We have a hot fix. We talked about it before the stream, right?
Mm.
The hot fix this card is instead of just every third spell you cast this turn, just the third spell you cast this turn, period. Make it happen once, right? And then it's good, but it's not an ongoing craziness. It's just it happens once. They already paid 6 mana for this guy. You know, the people have been cheating out mana looking at rogues for a while now. So if they cheat out like a big spell once, it's okay. But it's the fact that it just doesn't stop.
Yeah, you can do so much. You're just comboing off nonstop in that one turn.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to plan around too. Like I've tried to like hand read my opponent when they're playing cards in decks with this. It's like impossible, right? Like where you're like, okay, they already used one twin slice. They only have one more in their hand. And then they're like, okay, it's 7 mana. So he can play one of the 1 mana spells and then use the twin slice. And then he draws the draw cards. And you're just like, oh my God, how am I going to keep track of this right now? Like it's just like impossible to play around. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
And then they top deck Outcast. Like, yay. Oh, man. All right. So we have a card that we had covered last week, pretty in depth. But last week it was us speculating on how good Sacrificial Pact would be, knowing that Demon Hunter will be super popular. There's a bunch of new demons, and our speculation, I think we came to the conclusion that it's going to be very, very good in a card that we're gonna like. There's gonna be, you know, a lot of talk over, but I'm pretty sure we all said it was gonna be a really powerful card, right?
I didn't think it was gonna be this good. Honestly,
you didn't think?
I mean, I was afraid it would be. I figured it. We were. It was gonna be like that Dragon Tech card, or we thought it was amazing, but it wasn't amazing. But yeah, no, this is.
Yeah, I mean, I still am on the boat of like, how can you release a demon expansion and have a card that literally obliterates demons for one class, and it's 0 cost, and it gives you health back. It's just too much. Yeah, I think we're gonna be seeing something on this card this week, whether it's just Hall of Famed or if it's to target your own demons only, something like that. I think is going to be
I like that. I think that it's going to be it. Friendly demons
used.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it was played before Demon Hunter, and it was good, right? So now they just play it. They're going to play it anyway, and it's just even better at the end of the day. So
I actually don't know if you use it if it only hits friendlies. I don't know.
Well, they were doing it in the previous expansion. I think No Hands was one of the first people to start doing that, and because the extra 10 health that you got off of these gave you like enough sustain to make it through to like the late game as a Warlock, right?
Yeah.
Just from eating
it.
It'd
be
an
interesting to see, yeah.
Yep.
I hope it's
so.
Nerfed.
Yeah, I hope they touch it. I mean, it's like I like good cards, but I mean, it's just you get to a point where a card's just like too counter. Like we saw it very similar to like the Galaka Crawler meta, right? Pirate Warrior, somebody Galaka Crawler, like Galaka Crawler's your pirate as the Pirate Warrior, you lose, right? Like that's it. It's too much a tempo loss. It's a minion loss. It's cards like that aren't healthy.
What if they nerf it to 1? What do you guys think?
It's still pretty good.
Don't like it.
Yeah.
It would have to be at least 2.
Yeah. It would have to be 2.
Bad.
Exactly. That's the point.
Yeah. Also, you get it from Zephyrs, so it kind of forces. It might force you to play a Highlander deck, even if you don't want to play a Highlander deck, just so you have a Sac Pac, just in case. Yeah.
Your proposed nerf for it gets rid of the Jiraxis interaction, which would make people on Reddit very happy.
Maybe we can play Jiraxis again. Ooh.
Yes, we need our Burning Legion.
Be awesome.
Free Jiraxis. He's been in jail for so long.
He really has. He can't break out, man.
It'd be perfect if he came back through Ashes of Outlands. Like he became in a meta deck again in the Demon expansion. That'd be amazing.
I couldn't even dream about playing him right now. Not with all these Sac Pacs and Zephyrs. I can't even meme on it, dude. Oh,
would you even play it if Sac Pac was taken out? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
I mean, you'd have to try it out. Yeah.
Absolutely. I would just slap that into every Warlock deck I have. He's instant.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, that would be good shit. All right. And then the last card we have here on the list, one that you told me to put in here because A lot of people were talking big. I still think it's good, but you said that a lot of people may have over hyped the Maiev.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a pretty controversial card. I get asked every single day if it's good or craft this or I know that some decks have been taking it out. I still think that Maiev is really strong. It essentially gets you back the board if they just use everything on like one big guy, or if they have like one big taunt, you could just remove it for a little while, and then you take over the board. You get all that tempo back. One thing to note about the dormant thing is it can create some interesting scenarios with like Amazing Reno, because Amazing Reno doesn't it doesn't poof away dormant cards, so it can actually protect your opponent from certain things too. Like maybe if you're playing against a Warlock and you dormant one of their minions, then if they play Plague of Flames, it's not going to kill their own guys, so it could help them or it could hurt them, but I think overall the card's still very good, but I don't think you play it in every deck. I think in a more aggressive deck, like I think Demon Hunter has been cutting it out.
It's because it costs 4, not 3. So it
Yeah.
costs a mana to use if you draw it off a skull.
Yeah, who wants to pay mana for cards, right?
Well, people are running the Frozen chick instead,
true.
right? And she's kind of the same stat line. What's 1 mana cheaper for 1 turn of freeze? So if like everyone was running the Freezy 4/3 for 3 and not Maiev, I think that just means it's because it's 4 instead of 3. But I think Maiev's amazing as a tempo card. 2 turns Frozen is huge on a good statted body. Yeah. I've had it win me games.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it just gets around taunt. They make a big taunt guy, they make a big death rattle guy, they make something really annoying, and you just say no. You'd rather not. Deal with it later.
I think just the biggest thing is that you can't just slap it into every deck. I think you can put it into most decks, but I don't think it's an auto include all the time, and that doesn't make it not like I think it's still a must craft, but
It's meta dependent.
I would definitely. I mean, also it depends on what four drops you're running, like that. What your deck's trying to do.
I would put this in my Demon Hunter deck again if Embiggen became a thing again, right?
Yeah.
Like, because that card makes the whole matchup way better.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But because freezing a winged guardian doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You still got to kill it. But
I mean, you could run Kane. I think Kane has been also an alternative to Maiev.
Yeah. But you kind of run Kane no matter what. I think he's kind of like he's just burst damage either way, or like a solid turn 4 play in any situation. So, but he does do the same thing, right? I guess Maiev just makes it consistent to avoid their taunts if you need to.
Yeah, it delays it for longer, so if you need more than one turn, it's probably better. But
yeah, I think it depends on what decks are in. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that it's just something to think about. I think that a lot of people are saying that it was overrated and it's not really as great as it is, but I think it is still very good. So I just wanted to cover this just to see if you guys have any differing opinions. Yeah.
I mean, I think you brought up a good point, D-Money. You said when you first started talking about the card, you said that it's good and it's found in a lot of decks, but not every deck. And I think that's important because I don't think this card, we need another card like Ziliax. You know, people are comparing it to Ziliax, right? And we don't want another card like Ziliax where we're literally, it's a neutral legendary that you can play in every single deck, period. Like, it's just part of this, the deck building process was like, oh, I gotta add Snip Snap, gotta add Ziliax. I'm a good deck builder now, boys. So, like, you know, having a nice, good, neutral legendary that is just good and, again, doesn't fit into everything, that's a sign of a healthy card, right? Like, it's a meta, like, it's a nice little tech, but it's also a good card. And I think that makes it a healthy card. I like it. Like, I think you made a good point there.
Thank you.
I actually had added this. Yeah. I actually had added this because we're seeing a lot, I think even more of it now than ever, and we can wrap up with this card. But I had found that this card is being really annoying because I'm trying to play like Pure Paladin, right? And I'm trying to play no minion mage, and I'm getting countered by people trying to counter Highlander decks. You know what I mean? So these meme decks that aren't very good are getting even more shit on because they're getting shot by techs not even targeting my deck.
Yeah,
So-
for all you audio listeners, we're talking about Bad Luck Albatross, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't talk
No,
about that.
you're good. You're good. Yeah, that's an interesting point. I didn't really think about that until with that messing up Pure Paladin. Yeah, Albatross was so good before this expansion, and now it's even better. Because now, I mean, we still have a lot of people playing Highlander, and now Pure Paladin's kind of unplayable because of it. Especially with how many Galakron Warlocks there are that run 2 of these.
Why is it good?
Why is Albatross
Galakron
good?
Warlock?
Well, I mean, what are they playing it to target, like in the meta right now? Because Demon Hunter is like what, like 60% of the meta?
Yes. I mean, it destroys Reno Mage. It destroys like any Highlander deck. Just like
Yeah.
it's especially if they actually draw into 2 of them at the beginning. Like one of them is not too bad. Like you can usually draw one Albatross point before you have to get off a Highlander card, but having 4 birds in your deck is pretty crazy. It turns your draws into like dead draws half the time. Disrupts your deck, and yeah, I mean it's not as bad as Res Priest putting like 20,000 into your deck, but
True. That is the
still
worst.
very annoying. Do you think this needs a nerf, Rob? What do you?
No, I just wanted to hear your thoughts on it. Like, you know, I just found it to be interesting because, like, Highlander decks, this is what it was designed to beat Highlander, right? That was a Highlander counter. You played this to beat Highlander decks, but it's just now the fun decks are also suffering, which sucks for me because I want to play my terrible decks. I know they're terrible, but they're even more terrible than terrible now because they get countered by this. It makes it even harder. I'm struggling out here with my no minion mage.
Especially with no like Crystology anymore, you can't draw the bird.
Yeah.
So
So
it does make it a little harder to play decks like that, and that does suck. But
yeah,
and the card has really good stats too. So
yeah. There's like literally
yeah, there's no downside to playing it. So
yeah, there's literally no downside to this card. You can tech this into any deck right now, and it'll do very well in what would you say, 60% of your matchups, at least 50%.
Yeah.
Because if it's not a Highlander deck, it's still terrible draws for them. Yeah. So if you're looking to spice up your deck, boys, and counter like half the decks on ladder, you play too bad. Actually, don't. Chat, do not play this card because I still want to have fun. All right, do not play this card in your deck. Oh shit.
I mean, I could see it being if they want to change it, either make it a 3/3 or a 4 mana card, but
make it only shuffle one Albatross.
Only one bird. Oh shit.
That would be a good nerf.
Oh man. So that's all we have for cards on time. We're just about time for, I think, questions. Do we want to target some questions here?
I got a few.
Sure.
Okay. So let's
Wait, you have some?
I got 2.
I have 1 or 2. So we'll start off with Draco. What you got for us? What'd you pick out of chat?
I got this. What do you guys think of Kayn Sun Fury? Ignore taunt is dangerous as hell, and we've seen that, and we've never seen that mechanic other than silence. What do you guys think? Do you think Kayn is OP?
I think it's very strong. I don't think it's too good because it is 4 mana, so it's 4 mana for 3 attacks, so it's not insane stats. And like, yes, it is a new mechanic and everything, so we're still learning how to play with it and everything. And it could get more dangerous with future expansions. But I mean, I think it is very strong, but I don't think it's broken. That's my opinion. It's hard to really judge it without.
It's attached to an awesome stat line. That's pretty weird, right? Like the 5 health.
5 health is a lot, actually.
On a 4-drop. That has, like, yeah. I mean, if it was a 4 mana 2/5, maybe it would be a little bit more in check. I think its stat line is probably the most unfair thing about its effect being so great, is that it's on a stick that pretty good. It's hard to remove.
I mean, if you're playing it, you're probably going face, right? So then your opponent will be able to trade into it, or should be able to kill it off the next turn. So I don't think it's too much of a problem. 5 health has been kind of annoying for me to deal with, but I still don't think it's too broken.
I think what makes it a lot less broken is the concept of outcast. In the fact that you're going to often play your Kane because he's taking up the left slot of your hand, and you have a skull to the right of him, so you need to use him before it comes to turn 6. So you're not you're rarely, as a Demon Hunter player, are you actually running into your lethal because Kane is ignoring taunts, and you just suddenly get to win, right? The only I think I've had like 1 or 2 situations in my hundreds of Demon Hunter games that like Kane actually won me the game from ignoring a taunt. Majority of the time, I'm just throwing it down on turn 4 and like trading it into their 3/3 or hitting them in the face with it to get a free Furious Fellwing from my hand or something. So,
it's a good point about the outcast and everything. Yeah,
a 4-mana card is usually pretty bad with the tempo decks, so it's even one of the cards
so
that people consider cutting.
Yeah, so you are running yourself like at a risk of having that on the left or the right of your hand or whatever. So, yeah,
I think he's fair. If they put him at 5, he wouldn't get played.
No.
Yeah.
I think he's good where he's at.
Yeah. The only other question I have was, how about Sac Pac being a destroy a minion that has 3 or less health?
I had that as well. That's a good one. By BioCube.
What does that entail?
Wait, what was?
What would you remove with Sac Pac destroying something with 3 or less health? I guess we got used a lot on Sightless Watchers.
I mean, it usually is already used on things with 3 or less health, right? I mean, that's not too bad. I think we're still gonna run into the same issue over with it. Like the only thing that we use it on besides things with 3 or less health is probably like the Priestess, which people are even cutting now. So I think it's still not addressing the same problem that we have with it.
Yeah, I think the thing that feels really bad with it though is when like you get like a Priestess of Fury or some big boy demon just immediately Sac Packed for free. Then your opponent doesn't have to invest anything in its removal other than just a card slot in their deck.
Yeah,
that's the feel bad, right?
Yeah,
but it still does the efficiency, which I really hate getting done against me is when I have like the Battle Fiend out on 1 that gets the extra attack. A lot of times the Warlock player will just instantly remove it. So that's still possible, which is helpful to them. I don't know. It might be a fair nerf.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not gonna really. I don't think it would change really too. Like you said, like with the Battle Fiend and everything. Like most of the cards that Demon Hunter's playing are 3 or less health anyway. So yeah.
Okay. Well, it could be on the radar of changes, but yeah, I guess it doesn't really. It's still a huge swing, right? You're killing a minion, you're paying 0 mana, you're killing something, you're gaining life at the end of the day, right?
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah. So,
a lot of good questions now. Everyone's dumping them in because it's all
right. Well, if we get more, you're more than welcome to pick it up. I don't know how we're doing on time. I know we started a little later than normal, but Dragon Helper had. Yeah. Dragon Helper had the question, what if you outcast Skull into Skull? I mean, it's a fairly straightforward answer. So if you outcast Skull, it just reduces the Skull that you draw. And if that card get outcast, then you can play it again for 2 mana, right? And then you just draw more. Pretty straightforward question.
It's kind of bad, usually, if you
really
have that happen. Yep, because you can't play your Skull for free, and then you have to manipulate your hand again. And you're really trying to.
Oh no, you have to pay mana for cards, Draco. I'm sorry.
Dude, this is coming from the guy who mained the Pocket Galaxy class for like a year.
I had to pay 1 mana for those cards. Okay.
It's different. Not free.
Yeah, I mean, it's still very good to skull into a skull, but yes, you're probably looking for like zero cost when you go into the skull. So like, especially since you're playing a more aggressive deck and you're using up you're probably playing the skull on turn 6, so you're looking to play at least 2 of the 3 cards that you draw. It can be kind of bad for you, but it could also set up like a big Altruist or
Yeah, if you can Altruist into the 3 mana skull when it's outcast, you probably won.
yeah.
You know? Like if you play your Altruist and then get the skull with it out there for only 3 and you have all that mana left, yeah, this is done. That's 3 more cards to play for nothing. Yeah, pretty crazy to think about. But that situation is totally win more. Like you probably already won the game before you have that situation pre-set up, right?
Yeah.
Pocket Aces has a good question over there.
Okay. What is it?
With Demon Hunter entering the fold, how important do you think the skill of hand reading has become? And do you have suggestions about how to improve that in Arena?
Ooh. You see.
It's a great question.
Yeah, it is. That's a good question. I like that. Hand reading. We haven't talked about that, I think, at all. That has not been a topic of discussion.
That's a great question.
I literally, whenever I play against a Demon Hunter, I have no idea what their hand consists of or can consist of. I have no idea at any point.
Fantastic.
Maybe
That's what we'd like to hear. Top
It's so
100
important,
legend
Gamer.
gamer here, boys. Has no idea what's in the hand. We can do it. We got this,
it's
boys.
very hard to read their hand. I mean, the more it's definitely something. It's definitely a learning process because you do have to, with any like game in general, you have to know. You have to get more familiar with what all the cards do. So like I'm still learning what they're playing and what I have to play around. But
You
yeah,
need to play it, D. You need to play
that would
it.
help. It does help if you play as the deck. Definitely does help for knowledge like that. But I have no idea half the time what they could have or what they have, how much it costs, because you have to pay attention to what they got from Skull, like what cards in their hand are from Skull, what could be reduced down to 0 or 3 or whatever. So it's very hard to play around it, especially with like the Outcast as well. They could have like an I-beam on the left, which is going to cost 1 or something. So
That reminds me of how important it would be for them to put a visual indicator in the history when a card was cast with Outcast. Because I don't like how it doesn't do that. Like when my opponent uses a skull, if I can't see if it was on the left or the
Yeah.
right hand side, unless I was watching,
it should say
Crazy.
like -3, -3.
or it should have like a different color, at least in the border when it's in the history, or it's like a green trim around it or something, so I can see, oh, he got 3 cards reduced, you know, or I'd be like, oh, great, he didn't actually have it Outcast, he's just reloading. Like that's
Yeah.
so helpful. I don't know why that's not thought about.
I agree, because sometimes, for us, we'll look at chat, like during downtime, during our opponents, we'll read chat and then we look over and we see the cast skull, but we don't know if it was, that's a great point. I didn't even think of that, because knowing if they were discounted or not is pretty key. But answering the question, I think a really important thing is, and I would like to hear your guys' take on this as well. So for me, my hand reading comes from what they play and do not play, because then I can start making assumptions what's in their hand based off what they didn't do. So for example, if I like turn 5 comes along and I play a minion that's big, and they either don't answer it or they end up drawing and not developing, you can make the assumption, okay, they don't have single target removal, or if they did, they would have used it. If they had a minion, they might have played it. You know what I mean? You can start making these assumptions of like what their hand looks like based on their responses to what you do, which isn't necessarily reading their hand, but it's guessing based on information they give you of what they do. Maybe you guys can take that a step further, or
Yeah, I mean, you're basically like deducing like what they could have. It does. I think you're totally right, but then at the same, there's still the chance that maybe they're holding on to, maybe with like Altruist, and maybe they could have played a bunch of things, but they're maybe holding for a second, or maybe they have like Kane Sunfury in their hand, they're saving up for a combo with him. So that I think makes it hard to read their hand, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, if that's their identity, like part of their class identity, that it's a little hard to read their hand, because of all the unique things that they could do. I mean, that's not so bad, but yeah, Draco, what do you think?
I think it's really important against the OTK one, right? Like the OTK Demon Hunter with the outcast. If you can kind of identify which cards in their hands are the inner demons, or
Yeah, I mean,
the
it's like impossible though because of Kalthas, right? Because you never know what they could really go off, like how much potential burst they could have, right?
well, beforehand, right? So if you look at the left-hand side of your OTK Demon Hunter player, then you notice he hasn't played the card on the left for the last like 3 turns in a row, and it's like turn 5, then you know he's actually locked up with Outcast on the left-hand side of his hand, because it's like, because that deck has like, you're severely handicapped if you have like your inner demon in the beginning, or like your, or you have the Kael'thas all the way on the left. So like if you notice that they're never playing the card on the left, you can sometimes decide to over invest in your board, because you know that their reactions are all going to be based off of the top deck, because that's already kind of ruining their draw. You know, that's just one thing that I've won a game against an OTK Demon Hunter through kind of realizing that he must have one of his big cost cards in the left. And then realizing that I over invested and he had less stuff that he could do because he was going slower at that point. But that's a weird hand reading situation that you could use against that deck. But that's the only thing I was really thinking of when I read his question.
Okay.
Good question. Yeah.
It's a good question. Yeah. You guys got any others?
I'm out.
I mean, I have one, and then we could probably end it.
Okay.
Do you think Demon Hunter having a 1-mana hero power is a fundamental? Draco, you seem like you're like about to.
I think I lost your audio because I heard. Do you think Demon Hunter having a 1-mana? Your mouth was still moving.
Do you think Demon Hunter having a 1-mana hero power is a fundamental problem? That was the question.
Yeah, I guess I figured that was the question. I think like if you watch that designing Demon Hunter video, you realize how much went into that hero power card, and you realize that's such a huge design concept, right? Like making a 1-mana hero power was something that people spent months and months over trying to come up with what was the right way to implement or not implement that, or choose the hero power for that. And it's an interesting choice they made. I don't think it's too powerful for being one. I think it's interesting. I like it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way you can make it less powerful than it is, because it's one attack. You can't make it more powerful. You can't make it less powerful, right?
It's gonna stay.
Yeah.
There's no way there isn't even really bicker about it, right? Like they're never gonna change that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like part of their class identity, essentially. Just that they're the only class that has a 1-mana hero power, and it gives them one attack. So that's never been seen before, that a hero power. I mean, you have Rogue that's kind of comparable to it because they get a 1/2 weapon, which is essentially like having 2 1-mana hero powers ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think
it's perfectly tuned, to be honest. I think it's tuned. There's no other tune to it. Like you were saying, Draco, that is the tune, and that's how we dance. That's it. There's no other dance. There's no other tune. That's it.
Is for the next couple years of playing Hearthstone, playing any card on one that has 1 health will be a bad card.
Yes, that's why I hate 2/1s right now.
Yeah, it's very tough to play Sludge Slurper against Demon Hunter. Yeah, feels bad.
Yeah. Why would you do
Slurping
that?
up his dead body off across the battlefield because he ain't never living.
Yeah, it's like you play Sludge Slurper and you just pray that you get a faceless laggy, and don't. Then it's like, okay, all right, well.
Yeah.
But
a really interesting question that someone asked before we close off was, someone mentioned, what if they increase the mana cost of Plague of Flame for Warlock?
I saw that one. Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting concept. 1 mana, destroy a minion for every minion you have is pretty flexible with their
Very
Galacon.
strong.
And
Very.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's crazy. It's crazy good.
Maybe it should be 2 mana. I don't know. That'd be cool with me.
I can see
I
it.
think it's the.
I don't know if
it's no
that's.
tempo.
I don't think that's like the card with the most issue. Like I don't think that's probably like the most hot topic card for them to really look at. But
It's really
I
strong.
think that it could use a nerf. Yes, like it's just the ability for them to deal with basically like the invoke is just insane with that. It's too good. I feel like if you're playing any other class, like if I'm playing priest, you basically have to build a huge board like 3 different times. Like you have to at least bait out those first 2 plagues, and you have to build like a big enough board for them to have to do that, and it's pretty difficult to do that with a lot of classes. So I think that gives them a big advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they have 2 Dark Skies, 2 Plague of Flames,
Yeah.
Zephyrus for Twisting Nether.
Maybe
2
Twisting Nether.
Yeah, maybe a Twisting Nether. They have the new 6-drop top deck, maybe again and then they have the 2 Drakes, the 2 deal 3 to everything Drakes. Warlock has a shit ton of removal, a shit ton of single target removal. They have a lot of AOE removal. They have a lot of healing. They've got taunts. They've got aggression. That's what's making it the best deck right now, or one of the best decks.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything to decrease its efficiency would probably help, but I think that's probably good to wrap up.
Yeah. So, thanks everybody for hanging out in chat. We love having you here. Thank you for our 4th episode of the Metabreakers podcast. Again, we will be doing this Sundays, roughly 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Both DmoneyGames here and DracoCatt both stream on Twitch. If you guys want to put your Twitches in the chat, and moderators allow that to happen, !permit, that would be really helpful. So, you guys can see their stuff. Yeah, I think we covered everything we needed to. And you guys have any last words? I'm going to play Hearthstone after this, so I'm going to keep going. So I'm not done streaming, guys. I'm making little outros.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I got timed out. Oops.
You just got shot?
I should have waited. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you liked it. Hope you could give us some feedback in chat. Maybe something we could do differently. Or if you liked a certain part, that would be cool to hear from you.
Oh, and we have a Metabreakers Discord. Let me get an invite for that.
Oh, nice.
I forgot about that.
The
So
Discord.
if you guys have any suggestions for it, we all are in there. So please let us know if there's any sections you like or don't like. And yeah.
Or if there's any people that you don't like, No, I'm kidding. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I do stream every single day. I stream mostly standard. Usually in top 200. Play a lot of different decks. Most people know me for Reno Mage, but I have been playing a lot of different things. So I would love to see you there.
You just got shot again?
Yeah, it's okay.
Help him out.
Lights just went out for a second.
Help him out, Deku. Thank you. Deku's the man.
But thanks again, guys, and we will be back next week. Do you think 1 p.m. will work for? We should probably work that.
Yeah.
So I mean, the problem it's gonna be always the qualifier tournaments because they start at 12 or 1 every Sunday.
Always a problem with you. You and your problems. Always a hassle. Always doing these things.
There are 2 tournaments on Sundays, so I don't mind just entering the 4 o'clock one, honestly. Unless it gets to the point where I need to enter both of them. But yeah, it should be fine.
You could do the podcast while you compete.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to lose in the first round anyway, so... whatever.
Hell yeah, that's the attitude. That's that good shit, baby. All right, boys.
Draco, you want to shout yourself out?
Yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys. I'm DracoCatt too. You have a wonderful day. Thanks for being here, everyone. It's always a pleasure to hang out with guys here and all you. So
Yeah. Have a good Easter. Happy Easter, guys. Peace out.
Yep. Peace out, homies.